Let us not dawdle, for there are grudges to settle, and new entries in the Damask Cron to right!
Howdy, howdy, Sudivil here, and welcome to another Dwarf versus High Elves games featuring eumaies. If you don't know, eumaies has made an online guide, a Google document. I will link it in the description. It is for Dwarf multiplayer. If you play the Dowie in multiplayer, you're thinking about it, or you just like a fun read, go download it, put it on your phone. I've read it now 3 or 4 times. Every time I read it, it gets better. Like, eumaies did a really great job on it, number one, but it has a depth to it that you don't catch the first time. Even if you're an experienced Dowie player and you know a lot about the Dwarfs, it is just worth reading over and over and then referring back to when you look at a game and a match. And I want to look at this match. This match has already been cast by Zardar Total Warrior. I'll leave a link to Zardar's channel. I love his content. He's so good, has lots of cinematics, and just a great YouTuber altogether. But he did this battle as well, and he saw, I think, some of the same things that I saw. But I really want to look at some very specific things in this build. Because I think as builds get stronger between groups of player, they tend to converge on some concepts, and this is one of the concepts that they've converged on, because Aurora Boss has a very strong High Elf build too, and this is sort of the High Elf build that eumaies uses from his guide, very close to it. I mean, he took a piece of one Slayer out and added one of this, but anyways, and my build took elements from both these builds, and I already had one game with it, and it felt really solid. I don't know that my build's right where it needs to be, but it feels great, and I understand why it feels great, and I understand the difference between these builds. So I'm going to be showing an Aurora Boss game very soon, probably the next game, and I'm going to show this game, and I want to refer back to my build and understand the concepts that are the same between the builds and why they work and how they're used. Now, there's actually some really beautiful play in this game, so I'm going to actually, for the first time in a long time, take a lot of slow motion shots. But so for his leadership, eumaies has a Rune Lord with just the Wrath and Rune, and for his Runesmith, he has the Rune of Wrath rune. He also has the Hammer of Karak Draws, and this is what I bring as well in matches like this, and I've been bringing it for a while. Same idea, because I know exactly why he brings it. For 50 seconds, whatever you cast it on has 25% less weapon damage and 44 melee attack. It is perfect to put on Sword Masters or big things, and it works. It just takes him out of the game for 50 seconds. For his front line, an interesting front line, he has all Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. They are the best low-level great weapon infantry the Dwarfs have. They're better than Miners. They're better than Longbeards with great weapons for frontline fighting. They're not great, but they'll do the job. And really, obviously, they're going to go up against White Lions. They're going to go up against Sword Masters, and they're there to get some job done. And they're pretty decent anti-large. They're good enough against chariots, even though their mass is much lower than Longbeards. In the back line, he has some heavy hitters ready to come through these gaps, and he has 3 hammers ready to pull through these gaps whenever they're needed. And in the far back line, and these are the real killers, he has 3 Trollhammer torpedoes. And this is something that Aurora Boss swears by in this matchup as well. 3 Trollhammer torpedoes, and even Zardar says in his cast, he wonders why more people don't bring them. He also has 2 Dwarf Warriors, and I have 2 Dwarf Warriors too. In the very back, they're just to defend cannons, defend general backline stuff, and just to be a reinforcement. And he has 2 cannons. And Aurora Boss has tried 2 cannons, and he has 2 bolt throwers. So we're going to go over the builds. I really want, for the people who watch this channel, for getting better at building dwarf builds and understanding them better, to take note of this build and this game and how it's used, because there really is some brilliant gameplay in here to maximize the optimization of this build, because this is a tough matchup for the dwarves. All of our experts say the High Elves do have a strong advantage in this game. Now, the army that's been brought here is very interesting. No bolt throwers. That's very common to pick off Dowie, to counter battery and pick off Dowie artillery. Just the Tiranoc chariot, which is probably not as strong as the Elithilmar chariot, but it's there. He has 2 nobles on a chariot, and he doesn't have. They have the ability to stock, and they also have missile resistance. So I don't know why they wouldn't get that, but it is what he is. He has 3 Sword Masters of Hoeth, in here, and he has 5 spearmen, which is an interesting idea. Spearmen are a good unit, like all around. We know from our infantry testing they do fine in an infantry fight. And in the very middle, he has the 3 archers. No Sisters of Avalon, and the archers are actually very poor. I think they only have like 3 archers. They have 3 missile damage, so they're going to do very little to dwarf troops. What they're there for is slayers. Slayers and to harry gyrocopters. For his leadership, he does have, where's Alarielle? Just trying to find her. There she is. And she has the things that you would expect Alarielle to have. She has the Star of Avalon for the massive heal. She has Arcane Conduit for the magic. Tempest, which is to catch gyrocopters. -7 to speed and causes magical damage. Causes major magical damage. Good against flying, strong versus single combatant. So really that's what's there, to try and catch gyrocopters in Tempest and get them with the ranged contingent. Earthblood, and of course Shield of Sapphire. Every time she casts, everyone gets 11% damage resistance for 9 seconds. Life Bloom, every time she casts, everyone gets a heal for 5 seconds. I mean, she just is awesome. And she is on a horse. Though, I mean, I honestly don't want to know why, if you're not going to use your hero in combat, why you put him on a horse. It is not hard to run away from Dao. Like, I think her run speed is probably going to be like 35. She is like a literal rocket compared to a Longbeard. Like, she can run backwards, put her hands in her ears, and go nana nana boo boo, and as mad as she'll make a Longbeard, they can't catch her. But I don't know, people insist on that. I mean, casters and stuff like that, unless you have a very good reason, you know, you don't need it. So we're going to press play here, and again, first things first, you can see right away, eumaies, he's going to give orders to get his runesmith and his rune lord up there to get the first rune of Wrath and Rune off. He just wants to start damaging them right away as soon as he can. This thing's got 150 meter range, which is about from there to probably there-ish. So we'll see how far these guys go. And yeah, he's got scheduled to go up there, but he just wants to get up far enough to get that Wrath and Rune on. And this guy's going up. You'll see they're going to a spot, but as soon as they get close enough, he's just going to cast it. And he wants to get it on the Swordmaster. So he's looking, am I close enough? Am I close enough? He's getting the rest of his army sort of organized behind him. It doesn't really matter. This is actually just a nice play. So boom. Master Rune of Wrath and Rune. It slows him down, and it's going to hurt him. This guy's coming. You can see now he's going to cast it. So he's cast it on someone. As soon as this line comes, it's moving towards him, hey? Because they're coming towards him. So he's going to cast his Rune of Wrath and Rune. Boom. Going to get that Rune of Wrath and Rune. Now he has one of the Swordmasters and one of these Swordmasters. So it's going to start doing damage, and he's going to be cast Earthblood on one of these guys to try and keep their health up. And now it's just time to retreat, because it's going to replenish in time, and that's a good way to use it. Use it early and use it often, and try and get it out of there. Now he has 32 speed. These guys have 33 speed. He's not going to catch him. And now it's time to just let the cannons go to work. You can see they're aiming at the noble on the chariot. Out wide here, he's kind of pushing off a little bit with his dwarf warriors. Does sort of want to make a bit of a pocket on this side, but that's not where this is not where the magic happens. There's some really beautiful play here. He does want to get his Iron Drakes, and you can see he wants to get those shots on those nobles. They are going to go around and up there. Really, really hard, difficult to stop. Going into the hammers, get some shots in here. Here comes the main engagement. So in here, he's just got his dwarf warriors, and he's going to be up against 2 spearmen. That's fine. He's shooting against these Swordmasters of Hoeth, trying to slow them down. They got spearmen here. He's got some dwarf warriors, and his rune lord can be in here with spearmen all day. No problem. You can see, all right, so he's going to cast another Rune of Wrath and Rune on these Swordmasters, and boom, here comes the hammer. Literally, he's going to send his hammers right in. And you can see this is slowing them down. The Rune of Wrath and Rune is slowing them down. Meanwhile, he's cost the Hammer of Karak draws on these guys. These guys have 3 kills, and they're fighting dwarf warriors with great weapons. 3 kills. These guys are fighting dwarf warriors with great weapons, and they have 25 kills already. So in comes the Ithilmar chariot after the Iron Drakes. He is going to try and keep repositioning these Iron Drakes, finding good spots for them, and he has got that one Tirnoch chariot in this big melee. But you can see here these Hammers are absolutely demolishing the Swordmasters of Hoeth. They stayed here. Now they've got 30 kills already. These Noble is trying to do some damage, but we've got this Iron Drake's Trollhammer torpedoes can go to work, and it doesn't care if it's getting shot. It has 125 armor. These guys have 3 armor piercing. It's going to do it all day. So this pocket is safe, but you can see this pocket has expanded through. So I had to slow things down now. Okay, so we've got these spearmen, and we were able to keep the Hammer of Carrick draws on these guys, but you know, there was too much. There was 2 sword masters on this side, so now they've pushed in. So it is absolutely danger time because we have spearmen, Swordmasters of Hoeth, and Swordmaster of Hoeth in good health right in the middle. We have chariots running around. This is a disaster. This needs something to happen right away. So you can see what he's done is he said, okay, I'm collapsing. I'm going to keep my Dwarf Warriors here with the Spearmen and my Your Rune Lord is just best off to keep with something he can kill so he doesn't die really fast. And I'm going to try and take my Iron Drakes with Trollhammer Torpedoes out. I'm going to take these guys out. And I'm going to try and get my hammers in. So he's pushed his hammers in. He's pushed his Dwarf Warriors in. He's doing everything he can to stop this engagement. He does have the Rune of Wrath and Rune, the Master Rune of Wrath and Rune, to slow these guys down. He does want to get them to less than half health so they lose their martial prowess. And he's also going to find these Dwarf Warriors back here, and he's also going to bring them up and in. He saw this fight going on here. He was winning here. He knew he couldn't keep this fight going with the hammers over here, so now he's also bringing these hammers over to the main engagement. So his idea in this part is he's used his Hammer of Carrick draws to slow this advance, but they were able to advance. Now he's just going to try and do his best to hold this with his Rune Lord, his Dwarf Warriors against the Spearmen, and he has some hammers here, and these Dwarf Warriors are wavering. He's got some Dwarf Warriors here that are getting just to hold this, and he's going to try and get a good firing position with these Iron Drakes, with these Iron Drakes, with these Iron Drakes, with his cannon and his cannon. And you can see it already. He's really starting to push out, and he's holding here, he's holding here, and he's holding here. And he's got these guys sort of coming into the back. So this is a really beautiful sequence of play. We got 2 fully healthy Swordmasters of Hoeth right here. And they both have their martial prowess, which is a real problem. These guys are now down below that percentage, so they no longer have their martial prowess. These Tyrnok chariots are really trying to get around, and you'll see, they see there's a problem here. They're actually going to try and push through here, just like that, get through both the Iron Drakes. So we got shots going in with a cannon, right point blank, everyone's shooting at these guys, trying to get shots in. But really, this is where the fight is happening. Everything is win or lose right here. If the Dowie lose, these guys are going to pour in right to the cookie jar and get on all the targets they want, and these chariots are going to be able to clean the job up. So we need to get everything in here, and these guys are coming at exactly the right time. That is about the juiciest elf ass you are ever going to see right there. See that, boys? Oh, boy. That looks ready. Prepared. So, this is kind of one of those games that goes really fast, and you can't, I don't do this very often when I'm looking at games, but this game is important because of many reasons. But it also has some pretty sparkling play. So the High Elf player sees this. He knows he can't lose this. So in come the 2 chariots. And he's coming right for the hammers and the Dwarf Warriors. And he's going to get a big heal from Alarielle. And here comes the biggest Star of Avalorn in the history of Star of Avalorns. They got an Earthblood going. And then boom, the Star of Avalorn hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. It is absolutely ridiculous. This is the Star of Avalorn just as these guys get in their rear charge. So now we've got the elf sandwich, and they're inside their healing thing, but we do have shots because now he has decided to bring up this group of Dwarf Warriors. This group of Dwarf Warriors had gone down here, but he's brought them up to really reinforce this, to make sure it lasts, because all back here he's just got 1 Tyrnok chariot to deal with. The Runesmith is back here trying to deal with it, but he's got 3 Iron Drakes which still have a ton of ammo. He's going to try and kill that right there. But this Star of Avalorn is absolutely ridiculous. Beautiful rear charge in here, beautiful charge to the front, very, very good work by eumaies. And you know, there's still a battle resolving out here, but you know, no one really cares, to be honest. And this battle, no one cares about it, but we got to win it. And now we've got the Iron Drakes. Now these Iron Drakes can shoot, so they're shooting at these Tyrannok chariots. Boom, gone. Now this cannon can shoot, and these Iron Drakes with troll armor torpedoes can shoot again. He's taking one of these guys. He's just going to take him back here, so he can have these Iron Drakes here and here with a little bit of space, and he has a cannon here. And now he's focused. This whole back line has all of a sudden gone from completely compromised to online. Now these guys are going to get shot, but you're going to see their health just does not go down. They have 125 armor. They can get shot all day. You know, I don't know where this shot's going to go. Maybe it'll go back, but these guys really do need to be shooting the cannon. The cannon is actually their very best target. But you can see now we finally have some targets, but this Star of Avalorn has been crushing. The amount of health they got out of this was ridiculous. This noble is almost at his healing cap. This guy's fully healed again. This sword master got above martial prowess. You know, he's getting rear charged by hammers. He should be getting absolutely obliterated. But he got up to above his martial prowess. Now this guy was getting healed even though he was routing, and you know, nothing you can do. That was a perfect Star of Avalorn, probably the best I've ever seen. Now, yeah, I'm going to fast forward it a bit, but the Dowie, despite all that, are winning the engagements here. You can see they're routing these guys. These spearmen are down to 2,000 health. These guys are down to 25 health. They lost it again. They're going to come back with the Tyrannok chariots and really just keep to try and disrupt this back and push around and around the best they can. Now here is a key moment where I would say the only mistake of the game for eumaies, and I'm going to point it out because, and he probably knows it, just because it's a brilliant game, and you know, it's easier to take a little bit of criticism when you've been this brilliant, to be honest. So I would say the only error of the game, and you could argue you could play it different and everything, but it's just there's so many little brilliant sub-plays in this game. It's right here. This is actually changes the game. If this hammer right here comes around and just handles a spearman, and a swordmaster of Hoeth, and holds this pocket with these guys, it's just instantly game over, because there's not very many swordmasters left. There's not many spearmen left, but this is not what happens. So this is resolved. Like you can see, these guys will play it here. This is resolved up here. You can see routing. This guy's wavering, routing. This guy's still in it, these swordmasters, but they're gonna rout pretty soon. Boom, routing. But what happens here is, you know, and I know how this works sometimes. I get it. But you got spearmen, swordmaster of Hoeth, is you want to get after and put pressure on these archers. You know, I get this. This is another important, and eumaies will say the same thing. He really will. These guys just do not do that much damage because they don't have a lot of armor piercer. You sort of got to weather the storm. The right units to send after these guys are dwarf warriors. You know, so we have dwarf warriors here. We have dwarf warriors here. We have dwarf warriors here. That, I mean, they're around units that are no longer required to do anything. We have dwarf warriors out here, right? That they actually need to come up and finish this, and we have these dwarf warriors. So we actually have plenty of dwarf warriors to send them on a perfect mission for dwarf warriors. And these hammers spin around, these three units are gone. But we're going to see what's going to happen here, because eumaies have done literally a brilliant job of dealing with these three chariots and dealing with a pretty beefy front line. So we'll press play and let it go. And unfortunately, this hammer is just going to chase essentially right off the map, and allow himself to get shots in the back. You're going to get shots in the back, just let it happen. We do have these dwarf warriors. You know, just we don't have to do anything but use them. There is these swordmasters of Hoeth. I mean, he is going to fight them in a very, very short battle, but that's that. Now, this noble, this makes me sick. Watch how fast this thing goes. This has Rune of Wrath and Rune. Boom! It zooms past everything, because it maybe gets a charge animation. It's only at 41 speed. You should be able to absolutely wreck it, but that's just not how chariots work. It is what it is. You know, this chariot's going to be going up here. It's getting shot by the cannon, which is actually pretty funny, because this whole area is kind of a It's kind of a mess, but well, I'm going to say it's advantage Dowie until now. So, what happened? Our Dwarf Warriors routed. Yeah, we got a Rune of Wrath and Rune on the Swordmasters of Hoeth, but we have Spearmen with nothing to do except get into our back line, and Spearmen with nothing to do. So they're going to come in, bye-bye cannon, bye-bye Iron Drakes, you know, bye-bye cannon if it stays there, bye-bye Iron Drakes. This is a it's not a disaster because the battle's essentially won at this point, but you know, we have 50 good hammers there that are going to get mowed down from behind. I mean, they were going to get mowed down anyways, and they're just going to keep going where these 3 could have been done. So that was I'm not being critical at all. I'm just, you know, I get how fast these things go, how many good orders there were made in this game. I'm just pointing it out because it's a game worth watching. It's a game worth watching to learn, to think about the game in a very deep way, and one of the toughest matches there are for the Dowie in a really good build that has some very clear ideas. So there's like, he's going to try and heal this noble. We got Dwarf Warriors up here. You know, this is very tattered and not very good shape. So you're going to see eumaies is going to do his best to try and deal with these spearmen. He does have hammers here that can do that, and he does have Dwarf Warriors here that's kind of pushing forward. But in comes Alariel, and we're going to press play. And you can kind of sort of see he is finally, he did see these guys, and he's going to bring them up to help on this battle. I mean, these battles are going to go close, but these are both are only worth 500 gold, and the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons look like they're going to win it. So advantage Dowie with that pick. Otherwise, we've got these Swordmasters of Hoeth. They can be trapped by the Runesmith, and the Rune Lord are kind of coming in here. It is really these chariots that just keep... And this guy's like 138 health. Goes through another heal, and he dies. Because he gets hit by a troll hammer. Very satisfying. He just dies. And this guy coming in here for heal, he's trying to get himself healed up, you know. And he's just spamming orders just to go everywhere, and you can see the High Elves, they're trying to make themselves a new area to defend right here, and he's able to get rid of these guys. In we come from this side, a perfectly timed charge. Yeah, he gets double charged in the rear, but that is going to allow some Iron Drake Trollhammer torpedo play. Guess what gets to get back online? We're going to get our cannons back online. I love it. And now we sort of got the big last ball of fight going on in here. And the cannon is going to be back online. You can see way over here we have some hammers. That's just not great, but it is what it is. And we get to see the cannons go to work. Who's it going to be? Who's it going to be? That looks like a noble on a chariot right there. Quiet. The best part of the game. Right there. Good job, boys. You know, out in the woods, coming back. They're trying to get a shot on Alariel. And the game is obviously over. Everything is starting to rout here. It's just Alariel. They're trying to get some shots in here, try to get some heals. Obviously another Earthblood to get Alariel and the Spearmen. But there's just not enough to do anything. Oh, he's just shooting him in the ass. Yeah, he hit this guy. Just shooting him in the ass on the way out. So, you know, the Runesmith can take these guys and push him off, and Alariel, I don't know. There's not much he can do. I think he's just trying to aim, try and get her separate. So this guy will shoot. Yeah. Get some shots over to Alariel. Right. He doesn't actually care who Alariel's fighting. He just wants to get shots with the Trollhammer torpedo. Oh yeah. Here he comes. Oh, chicken. Look at that. God, elves. You know, you just run away if you want. You're gonna get Trollhammer torpedoed in the face. Come on. Come on. One more Trollhammer torpedo to the face. Let's do it.
In the grey book of grudges.
Well, she's doing a good job. I'm going to give her that, to be perfectly honest. But here comes some more troll hammers. They just do too much damage. She's down to 193 health. Everybody comes in, and that is the game. All right. So, first of all, I love this build. I mean, I've been playing with high elf builds for a long time, and some have been successful for just whatever reason. Like, at one point, I had a high elf build with 4 hammers and a four hammers and a flame cannon. It was an awesome build. It worked really good in some of the fights I had. Like, crushed. Like, it absolutely demolished high elf armies right up until I ran into an army that had the bolt throwers, and then didn't crush so hard anymore. You know, I've tried a bunch of different ideas against the high elves, and to mostly unsuccessful. Some had some success. So this is really the core of what I'm seeing is these Trollhammer torpedoes. I think are core to this idea. And the thing is, if all 3 Trollhammer torpedoes can unload on one chariot at one time, they delete it. Essentially, they can kill it in one shot. Genuinely. So this is why they're so powerful together. Because if he gets his noble in the wrong place, you one-shot it. It's over. Noble's dead. And this, like, Aurukabos has this, and I have this. Now, Aurukabos has also tried 2 cannons and 2 bolt throwers with his build. He prefers the bolt throwers. Now, I've actually put in 2 gyrocopters because I'm always worried about those, damn. Their bolt throwers counter battering, and I know there's some people who say our bolt throwers can beat theirs, and it's a risk. And aside, it is easy for the high elves to get into our back line, easy, like simple. It is so easy. They get in there with chariots. Like you saw this battle. Eumaies here has an excellent army, and those nobles and the chariots were in the back line at the start all the way to the end. They never were not in our back line. So it is hard to defend the back line, so it is easy for them to come in and beat the crap out of cannons. You really, really, really have to protect them. So maybe that's the way to do it. I have gyrocopters, so no cannons at all, so I can go and force the enemy to me. Now, in a case like this, where Alariel has a way to catch them, it's going to be a little harder, but the archers in this would have no chance against gyrocopters. Not no chance. They wouldn't do much. And really, you need to bring the Sisters of Avalon. I think if you brought the Sisters of Avalon and 1 archer only, you'd have a really good build, actually. I think in all 3 of our builds, we all have 2 Dwarf Warriors for sort of backline protection, sit on the cannons, get in the way. They have anti-large, charge defense against large. Now, here's where we shift again. Aurukabos just has a Rune Lord, and I'm going to show his game next. No Runesmith. I mean, I got the Runesmith for 2 reasons. That double rune, when you need to slow something down, can be crushing. It is crushing. The ability to take something that's got 90 speed and have it had 9 speed, you absolutely can then unload on it with your Iron Drakes. Like if he comes in with a dragon. Let's say he's coming with a dragon. Dragon's getting close to landing. You hit Rune with Wrath, and you hit both Rune and Wrath and Runes just coming in at 9 speed. And you get 2 volleys before the damn thing lands, and it can't get away. It's just going to die, right? It's literally just going to die in your back line. It's such a powerful item. I think it's a requirement in this battle, and this has to be the most correct lineup. And in addition, the Runesmith has the Hammer of Karak draws, which is 100% worth it. Swordmasters can easily take out Dwarf Warriors in under a minute. Yet, you saw, they put the Hammer of Karak draws on him, and he killed 7 in a minute. Might have been even like that whole time. You essentially, for 200, the Hammer of Karak draws costs like 150, 200. You get a free Dwarf Warrior. Look at it that way. And if you get to use it twice, you get 2 free Dwarf Warriors. It is a And it's a key place. You saw how eumaies used that to help the part of his line that needed it the most. It was a really wonderful cast of that spell. But we'll look at the army. 50 with the Rune Lord. Really nice placement of his Rune Lord. Put his Rune Lord in with Spearman, he can fight all day. Spearman can't do anything to a Rune Lord. Runesmith didn't get into the fighting. He was trying to slow down chariots. Fair enough. I think he probably might have been better off fighting Spearman as well. You're a little bit safer doing that, but it is what it is. 7 and 4 for the Dwarf Warriors. They're just there to get into the way. 53, 18, 30, 36 for the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons. Again, there to do a good job against the High Elves. So High Elves 19, 12. Compare that 35, 23, 9. So I would say the Dwarf Warriors with great weapons won that fight. That's what it looks like to me. Now, the heavy hitters. 120, 56, and 91 for the Hammers. And for the Swordmasters of Hoeth, 21, 61, and 100. So I would have to say the Hammers won that. But these guys had the Hammer of Carrick draws on them. These guys had runes. These guys had runes. They were shot with Trollhammer torpedoes. I mean, to win that fight, it was 100% focus from eumaies, and you did get to see it. With the Trollhammer torpedoes, 13, 28, 46. Not high amounts of kills, but they killed both nobles. They killed the Elithamar chariot. They killed some Swordmasters of Hoeth, and they really hurt Alariel the Radiant. These guys, I think I'm now convinced that they are an absolute must-pick, auto-include in this matchup, because everything that really hurts you with these freaking High Elves is everything that these Trollhammer torpedoes deal with. They're like Dowie salve for elves. If you hear elves and it gives you a rash, just get yourself some Trollhammer torpedoes. Just rub it on where the rash is, and everything will be better in no time at all. And finally, the cannons. This is where I differ from eumaies and Aurora Boss, and we'll see some more play with Aurora Boss coming up. Is that I just like the more dynamic options that the gyrocopters give me in this situation. And I find that I've used cannons. I've used regular cannons. I've used I haven't used bolt thrower. No, I have used bolt throwers. I've used a flame cannon. I haven't used organ guns, and I've used the Goblobber in here at some point. I've also used 4 gyrocopters, which didn't work. I've used tons of thunders. It's just like this back line with the 3 Iron Drake torpedoes is enough. You don't need more than that, and it's still hard to protect, but you can protect it. You take these Trollhammer torpedoes out in that last battle, and instead of cannons. Now the cannons did work, so don't get me wrong. The cannons did work, but replace the 2 cannons with Trollhammers, and you're going to get early shots on the Swordmasters of Hoeth. You're going to get your bombs off where you want to. You'll get some rear charges in, or you can just focus on the one noble before he gets anywhere close, and he can't run away from you. He's anti-large, and you will knock him down. He gets close enough to get into one of those Iron Drakes, he's done. Then, when he starts running away, you just chase him off the damn battlefield, because that's one of the things you can't do as a Dowie. So I feel like, I don't know if they're better. I don't know. I do not know if they're a better choice than the cannons or the bolt throwers, i.e. the artillery yet. But it felt real good to me in the last game. I'll have to keep playing some more games. So the big differences between Oroka Boss and eumaies concept is eumaies uses Dwarf Warriors with great weapons and hammers. In this position, Oroka Boss has Longbeards, just basic Longbeards. So what do basic Longbeards get you? They hold that front line better, and they're a little more steady holding the front line, plus they have more mass. A Dwarf Warrior has 150 mass, Longbeard has 200 mass. It is a big difference, and a big deal when you're trying to deal with chariots, and it does make a difference. And if you saw, it was much harder for the Fireborn to get through my line in the last game. They couldn't just charge through. Although he didn't have chariots, so we could see the difference. But I am going to be casting some Rourke Boss games in the very near future, so you can sort of see the difference. But I think what I'm saying is, and I gotta find an A-Move hacker game. A-Move, if you're listening to this, or Shetland Apache, you've got to get me. You two have got to get me games for Dowie versus High Elves. I want some from both of you to see if you're converging in on the same idea. I will personally message them looking for their games versus the High Elves because I really want to see. So, that said, it's a bit of a different video for me, a bit long-winded, and but really important. Important for some of the sparkling play that eumaies demonstrated. Some really beautiful frontline engagements. I mean, that frontline charge with these guys. These guys got 120. They were on the left flank. They charged into that Swordmaster that was being Rune of Wrath and Ruined. They ended up getting 55 kills, and they still had all 75 models. I don't know if I mentioned that. The first time I watched it, I saw that. It was crazy. So there were some just absolutely beautiful plays, and 2 amazing pinchers, and 1 brain fart. But we all get our brain farts. I mean, that's and it was a great brain fart here. Or you know what? It could have been eumaies said, you know what? I'm winning this by so much. I do not give a shit. These hammerers are going to chase these archers until they're dead. That is a legitimate dwarf decision. So anyways, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. I always ask for comments because that's kind of the thing I like the best. Go over and watch the Zardar's cast. You'll see the different styles people cast in. Zardar's is so much more cinematic. I love watching his videos, actually. And even if I've seen them before, watch his cast, see his take on it. And, with that said, I hope you found it interesting, and I'll see you soon.